What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and this is the Battlefield 5 attachment system. Now, Battlefield 5 is just a placeholder. It might be Bad Company 3, it might be 2142, whatever DICE's next Battlefield game is. These are some ideas and just some additions to the attachment system, because Battlefield 4's attachment system was, if not the best, probably one of the best attachment systems out of any first-person shooter I have ever played. Having that many options, so being able to take like an AK-5C and turning it into like a close range, silenced, like stealth fighting weapon, all the way, you can basically turn it into a DMR with, you know, a 3x scope or a infrared scope, and then long range attachments, recoil mitigation attachments. Like the amount of stuff you could do. You could take a gun and do two completely different directions, and then every combination in between to come up with the perfect weapon. That being said, the attachment system was far from perfect, and these are some things that would drastically improve the next attachment system to make it literally the best attachment system of any first-person shooter ever made. So let's get into it. Firstly, with sights. There is a lot of different optics in Battlefield 4, we all know that. But isn't it kind of weird that everyone's just running around with the Cobra sight or the Coyote sight? Now, why is this? Well, because the red dot recoil, or I think it's reflex sight, and the Cobra sight, and the Coyote sight, and the holographic sight, and the other two holographic sights I don't remember the names of, are all one-time zooms. So they all have the exact same zoom magnification. Now, this is not ideal, and again, it just made it so the Coyote sight, which is usually just, it's the clearest one, offers you know, the clearest picture on target, is usually the one that just simply gets used the most. Now, we can alleviate this by just having different levels of zoom. Let's say in Battlefield 5, the Coyote sight has 1.5 times zoom, the reflex sight has 1 time zoom, and the Russian, I forget what it's called now, all of a sudden, the Russian sight now has 1.25 times zoom. The Russian Cobra sight, wow. And then we have the, let's say, the holographic sight has 1.6 times zoom. You know, one of the, let's say the Russian holographic sight has 2 times zoom. Basically, all of these 6 sights have different levels of zoom, up to from 1 times, one of them has 1 time zoom, and one of them has 2 times zoom, and the rest are all in between. So one has 1.5, one has 1.25, you know, whatever different options DICE thinks is best, but filling the gap between 1 times and 2 times zoom. This is going to be extremely useful because some of the guns were, you know, they were good enough recoil that you wanted a little bit more zoom, but you didn't want all the way up to a 3 times zoom. It was kind of ridiculous to go from a 1 times no zoom scope all the way up to jump right up to a 3.4 times zoom. Now, basically, the real reason I really kind of thought of this and want this was when the FAMAS came out. And, no, sorry, not the FAMAS, the F2000. When the F2000 came out for Second Strike DLC, it came with a 1.6 times sight. Now, this 1.6 times sight actually offered the perfect level of zoom you wanted on certain maps for the F2000. The F2000 had decently controllable recoil, and I found myself on like longer range maps, like if I was playing kind of a vehicle oriented long range map like Operation Firestorm, I would purposely put on the 1.6 times sight to get a little bit extra zoom. And it was just such an awesome feature, and it's kind of disappointing that when I'm using something like the AK-5C, I would want a 1.5 times zoom for that because it has decently easy to control recoil. I don't want all the way to a 3.4, and I don't want as little as a 1.0, but I would want like a 1.5, a 1.6 times zoom option for the decently low recoiling guns to extend them even further. And having stuff that's 1 time zoom, like if the reflex sight was a 1 time zoom, people would use it more often because some guns, you just don't like the iron sights, but you don't want any more magnification than is necessary, because more magnification will accentuate the recoil. It'll make the recoil more significant. Or at least it'll make it seem more significant because you're zoomed in further on target. So if you have a high recoiling, let's say SMG, you're just going to want to stick with the reflex 1 times sight. Let's say the iron sights are terrible. You're like, I just want a reflex sight. I want a little bit better sight, but I just want that 1 time zoom. it's really just going to make all the sights utilize more often, rather than what it is now is basically everyone using that coyote sight. Now, in addition to that, a new attachment that should be added definitely is the glint hider. Now, originally, Level Cap was a guy who came up with this. He said, look, there should be something to hide the glint on your scope. And I totally agree with that. The way he had worded it, and he said he wanted to put it in attachments, I totally disagree with that. Put the glint hider. I totally like his idea of a way to hide sniper glint, because as it stands now, if you want to be a sniper, it is so easy to find out where snipers are, to the point where it's kind of ridiculous. Like, it's like another sun glowing from you in the bush. You're like, well, there you are. Now, that being said, I definitely don't want to remove sniper glint altogether, because it is really nice that we don't really have bush Wookiees now, because their positions are so easily given away because of the sniper glint. I think we should have a glint hider, but put it in the attachment slot in with the same attachments as straight pull pin and bipod. So you have to choose between the glint hider, the straight pull pin, and the bipod. The straight pull pin is extremely useful, so picking between that and a glint hider is already going to be a hard choice, and making it so that you can't have a bipod and a glint hider is really going to alleviate all the extreme long range distant campers. Like, you're not going to be able to get massive long range kills usually if you don't have a bipod. So it's really going to harm long range sniping, if you don't have a bipod and you pick the glint hider over top of it. So I think it'll balance itself out that way if we put it with those other two attachments. But again, if you're trying to be a sniper and you're like, I've played the recon a lot, and it's kind of frustrating when you try to put a little bit of distance between you and the enemy just because you're not that effective up close. Like, everyone has AK-5Cs, so you kind of need to be a little bit back. But then you zoom in on a target because you have a 6x or 8x scope, and everyone in the world can see your sniper glint, and you're just getting pot shots shot at you, and you have to constantly move locations. Now, I'm not in favor of camping, but it's a little bit ridiculous how you can't be an effective recon, and it just is kind of making the fact that you have so much sniper glint, people just go further and further back and become less and less useful recons. Like, they're trying to get so far away from the enemy team because they know everyone can see where they are. They want to be far enough away that you just can't deal with them, that you have the kind of, stereotypical useless recons who are up on a hill 10 million miles away, not helping your team. Another idea is better controls for alternative optics. Now, I really don't see a lot of people using the 2x doubler or the side irons, and the reason being, I honestly think, is because I play on console, and so for PC it might be completely different, but on console, so PS4, PS3, all consoles, the option to switch between, let's say, your normal sight and your side irons is a D-pad. No one ever wants to do that. Taking your thumb off of one of your joysticks so you can't look around just to be able to switch optics, that's bad. If they would just change, just a little simple change to where the how you would change between your one optic and alternative optics, so either put up the doubler or switch to your side irons, if the control for doing that was pushing down on the thumbstick, on the thumbstick that looks around, I think that's the right thumbstick, just pushing down on it would change the optic. That would fix everything. People would use that all the time because you can change it so easily on the fly. You don't have to take your thumb off of a thumbstick and then press the D-pad. It was just way clunkier and unnecessary. Just simply by pressing down on the thumbstick, that would solve so many problems. Really would make, in my opinion, I would be using the alternative optics a lot more, because when I'm using a sniper, if I'm in such a close range scenario that I need to change to my side irons, taking my thumb off the thumbstick and pressing the thing and then watching the animation, I'm usually dead anyways. Being able to change on the fly and then change back, it would just be a much better. Lastly, I think the thing that they really do need to add is a magazine option. So right now they have optic, attachment, barrel, and underbarrel, and the addition of magazine would be fantastic. It would give a whole new depth to the game, just adding one more of those options, so you can have one more attachment, and just a bunch of stuff that would mess with the magazine. For example, you just get the simple stuff out of the way. a quick reload feature, like you know, a gripped magazine or something that you would just reload quicker, and something like an extended magazine. Already you have those two attachments competing for each other. Obviously you can only pick one, but having like, again, it's saying to a player, hey, do you want to reload faster, or do you want an extended magazine? And it's going to differ for every gun. Like if you have a 20 round Scar H, you're probably going to favor the extended magazine if it brings up to something substantial. Like now you have 40 rounds in a magazine. That's going to be pretty amazing. But then again, a fast reload is also really good. Like just those two attachments competing with each other, it would be awesome for Battlefield. Then you would introduce a bunch of like really cool magazine attachments. Like for example, having the tied together to the taped together magazines. Black Ops 1 I think had these, so your magazines are taped together, so you reload extremely quickly once. Like you just take out the magazine and put in the other one because they're taped together. Very, very fast, faster even than the fast reloading magazine. But then your next reload is longer than usual, so you have one quicker than usual reload, but your next reload, since you have to get another dual magazine, is much, much longer. So it's kind of like, yeah, your first reload is extremely fast, but then if you survive to your next reload, it's even slower, so it's a detriment. It would just be a really fun attachment to play around with. Then you could even introduce, like if you really want, you could have a beta mag, like something with like a drum magazine on certain guns. Just all the different magazine attachments, because there really is, you know, quite a few. In real life you can get quite a few different magazine attachments, they all serve a purpose. And the last thing I want to do is the last thing I want to say, just something along the lines of adding to the game, adding to the attachments already in the game. When you're talking about barrel, I really think we should have the option for having an actual, like, different sizes of barrel. Like in real life, the different barrel things you can put on a gun, like the actual different barrels you can switch out on like an M4, changes it drastically. And being able to put an actual heavy barrel, not just a heavy barrel, Battlefield heavy barrel, but let's say like an elongated barrel would, let's say, increase the bullet velocity. That would be huge. Having just an attachment that did nothing but increase the bullet velocity would be so useful for certain guns. But let's say, I think that they should also play around with, you know, having a longer, heavier barrel increases like the weight of the gun. So if you put on, let's say, a heavy barrel, increase the bullet velocity, but let's say you aim down sights slower. And then maybe you have a short barrel, like a compact barrel, like cut off some of the barrel. Like, and again, they have these in real life, like a compact, shorter barrel, better for close quarters scenarios. And in the game, let's say it would lower bullet velocity, but you would aim down sights quicker. Like having just those two options would again increase the customization dramatically. And certain guns I would really want, let's say, to aim down sight quicker. Like guns that I really don't care about the bullet velocity, I would have the shortened barrel, better for close quarters. Whereas guns maybe I want to try to extend the range, I would have the long heavy barrel. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please add your ideas into the comment section. If you have a good idea, just add it into the comment section. I think we can make the Battlefield 5, the next Battlefield's attachment system, the best thing ever. It was one of the best things about Battlefield 4, and it can only get better. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. But as always, have a good day.